الرحيم. عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري عن فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله قال سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة فقلت عليك السلام قال إني أجدك في بدني ضعفا فقلت أعيذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت عليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي فقال يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي قد أذنت لك فدخل معه تحت الكساء فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت عليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي فقال يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء فدنا الحسين عليه السلام نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جدا السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع عمتي قد أذنت لك فدخل معهما تحت الكساء فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله فقلت عليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله فقلت نعم هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء قال له عليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي قد أذنت لك فدخل علي تحت الكساء ثم أتيت نحو الكساء فقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بضعتي قد أذنت لك فدخلت تحت الكساء فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ بي رسول الله بطرفي الكساء وأومى بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم، فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم، وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. فقال الله عز وجل: يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي، إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيعا ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل: يا رب ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل: هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. قال جبرائيل: يا رب يتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا. فقال الله: نعم قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك: وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيعة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم، وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معهم، فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله عليه السلام: يا أمين وحي الله، إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لأبي: إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول: إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. فقال علي لأبي: يا رسول الله، أخبرنا ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي: والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي: إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله: يا علي، والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم مهموم إلا وفرج الله همه ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام: إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا، وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. سورة المباركة الفاتحة.
الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله الذي من علينا بمحمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وبأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله، صلى الله عليك يا ابن رسول الله. روحي وجسمي وأرواح العالمين لك الفداء. يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة، يا عبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة، ما خاب والله من تمسك بك وأمن من لجأ إليك. يا غريب ويا مظلوم كربلاء. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أنزل من السماء ماء فسالت أودية بقدرها. صلوات Tonight we celebrate the birthday of our ninth holy Imam, Imam Mohammed Taqi al-Jawad alayhi afdalu salawat al-musallin. As far as his birth is concerned, he was born in Medina in the year 195 after Hijrah, and he died at the tender age of 25 in 220 AH. We can say he is the youngest Imam, and he became an Imam at the age of 8 years, a tender age of 8 years, when Imam Rajab left this world, and he was an Imam for about 17 years. I will give you an outline about him, and then inshallah the main subject that we are going to discuss tonight, we will come to that. So if you look at the life history of Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam, you find that he hardly got 25 years, but then within that span of period, he did a lot of struggle, he did a lot of things. If you look at the history, for example, there were different shubuhat and ambiguities that came about during that time, and they continued from the previous times. For example, the Fatahis, those who only believed in the seven Imams, and they didn't believe in Imam Rajab, they continued their role. They played their role by mediating the other Imams. They just stopped at Imam Al-Qadhim alayhi salam. They did not go after that to any other Imam. For example, we had such a group. Then we had the Zaydis, and the Zaydis, those who only believed in 4 Imams, and then they looked at Zayd ibn Ali to be the Imam, and they stopped at that. And they also then turned to be the Nawasib also. Although today the Zaydis are not like that. You go to Yemen, they are with the Shia Ibn Ashari, and they have a kind of affinity with them. But then at that time, these were against the Aimma alayhi salam. So the Imams faced such a group also, especially Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam. And then we had a faction known as Ahlul Hadith, who are Mujassima. Mujassima are those people who believe that Allah is a jism and anthropomorphic. They look at the verses of the Quran and they look at the literal import of the verses of the Quran. So for example, when the verse says, وَجَاءَ رَبُّكَ وَالْمَلَكُ صَفًّا صَفًّا, and your Lord and the angels came in rows, They think, the Lord also is coming like a human being, and the angels also are like human beings, and they come in rows. Well, that is wrong, obviously. Allah is infinite. Allah is free from any kind of imperfection whatsoever, whether it is material or even the immaterial imperfections which are in the higher realms. Allah is infinite in that level. So, Imam had to fight such a group. And then we had another group which was even worse, because they believed things, and some of them had an intentional motive. And these were the Wiladat. So what they did is they started concocting hadith, that the Imam has said such and such a thing, while the Imam did not say such and such a thing. So we had all these groups, and Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam had to tackle these groups in different ways according to his acumen. And this is what he did actually. He gave a lot of guidance. There is a lot to be talked about Imam al-Jawad. In fact, this is a whole subject that consists of about 10 to 20 sessions of about maybe 30 minutes or 40 minutes where attention can be drawn. So this is the subject itself. What we would like to look at an outline of who the Imam was first, and then inshallah we look at our subject. Just recite the salawat, please. So, the Imam was with his father for about 3 years, rather 8 years, when he became the Imam. And his father, Imam al-Rida left this world. Imam's father is Imam al-Rida alayhi salam. The mother is known as Sabita Khatun, or Khayzuran also is another name. And her affiliation, her lineage goes to one of the wives of the Holy Prophet known as Mary the Copt, Maria Qibtiyya. So her lineage goes there. This was the wife of Imam al-Rida alayhi salam, who then, due to this wife, Imam al-Jawad was born. Imam al-Jawad also had 2 wives in that span. One was al-Fadl, who was the daughter of Ma'mun, who is the one who poisoned the Imam at the end of Imam's life. And the other was known as Samana Maghribiyya. And from Samana Maghribiyya, Imam had 3 children. The 3 children were Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam. And then we have a person known as Ahmad al-Mubarqa, Abu Ahmad al-Mubarqa, who is buried actually there in the holy city of Qum, right? And then we had another sister known as Hakima Khatun, who also had a very powerful role in the birth of the 12th Holy Imam Ajjalallahu Farajahu Sharif. And this great lady has been buried there in the holy city of Samarra. You forgive me, recite a salawat, please. So this was an outline of about the Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam. And then from his epithets, first of all his technonym. Technonym is when your firstborn is born, you are named because of your firstborn. So from that perspective, he was known as Abu Ja'far. But he was known as Abu Ja'far al-Thani, because Abu Ja'far al-Awwal is Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. If a person just says, who is Abu Ja'far, if he doesn't mention al-Thani or al-Awwal, then you may say that it is either Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam or Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam. So that is why with regard to Imam al-Jawad, they say Abu Ja'far al-Baqir. This was his technology. And then we have his epithets, his qualities. So he had different qualities. For example, he was known as Qani'a, person who is satisfied with what Allah has given him. Then he had Murtada, was another name of Imam al-Jawad. Then Taqi was another name of Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam. And we had different names, but the most mashhur and well-known name was Jawad, the one who is open-handed. And actually there is a difference between Jude and Karam. Both are very powerful attributes. Some of the lexicographers have mentioned that when it comes to Jude, it's when you give and you are not asked. This is without su'al, without mas'ala, you give. But Karam is whenever you are asked, you give. So both are good, actually, if you go and see. Both are good. And both are the names of Allah also. You say, Ya Kareemu, Ya Jawadu, for example. Both these are names of Allah. And the Imam was known as Jawad, specifying that he would give even without being asked. And he was very open-handed, so much so that, and this training was given by Imam Rida alayhi salam. You see, because whenever he would leave the house, the servants would take him through a gate whereby there are not so many people, a very small gate where there were not so many people, so that people don't come and ask him for money or for anything. So Imam Rida alayhi salam would tell him that don't allow them to take you through that gate. Go through the main gate, and here is the money. Take a lot of money with you. And then Imam also gave him instructions which are so beautiful that if your cousin asks you for something, give him this much. If your aunt asks you for something, then give her this much. It's a whole package that the Imam is showing that, with regard to relatives, how should you be? And with regard to those people who ask you, how should you behave and so on. So, and he was mashhoor, because he was a lot of mashhoor of being open-handed. That's why he was known as Jawad. Now, our subject is going to focus on this very quickly because I know the time is limited. And because this holy month of Rajab is the month of giving, and the giver is Allah. In fact, one of the names is As-Sabr. Rajab and As-Sabr, لأن الرحمة الله يصب صبا. The mercy of Allah pours down abundantly. And some of the ulama say that, only a group of people have the ability to take advantage of this month specifically. Then, slowly and gradually, another group gets the tawfiq. The second category gets the tawfiq in Sha'ban. The first group gets the tawfiq from Rajab, and then it goes to Sha'ban also. But the second group gets the tawfiq in Sha'ban. In the month of Ramadan, there are so many groups who get the tawfiq of getting the grace. But they get the grace, it is like, it is pouring up, and you are getting it from a higher plane of existence. And then when it comes down and it goes to different tributaries, that is why it is known as Sha'ban, min ash-shu'ab. It goes into different tributaries, so now you can get the different grace. And then in the month of Ramadan, it has already settled and people are getting the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is a month, and the great saint Ayatollah Jawadi Ahmadi, the contemporary philosopher and mufassir, very powerful figure, he says that actually this month is the month of increasing our receptacles, increasing our receptivity. The problem is, the giver is giving, but are we receiving or not? And this is a very, very important subject if you go and see. If we try to actually make our hearts more wide in this holy month, and we make our hearts more comprehensive, you will see in the holy month of Sha'ban and the month of Ramadan, the grace that will come down, we will be able to catch it, we will be able to get it. Otherwise it's going to be like, those people who rain is abundantly raining, but then they have very small cups to take water. So the fault is not from the giver. The giver wants to give you a lot, but have you prepared yourself to actually make your container a bit comprehensive so that you get the grace? This is something which is very important, right? The Quranic verse that I mentioned in Surah Al-Ra'd, verse number 17, Allah brings this principle down and tells a very beautiful principle, and I think if we understand this, we will understand so many secrets of religion. أنزل من السماء ماء فسالت أودية بقدرها. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala abundantly sends down indefinitely rain which is pure. فَسَالَتْ أَوْدِيَةٌ بِقَدَرِهَا. The valleys actually take water according to their measure. So those valleys which are huge and clean get clean water, and a lot of water. Those which are less in size get less water. Those valleys which are dirty get dirty water. The problem is not that Allah gave dirty water. No, Allah gave clean water. Allah gives grace. Ya daim al-fadli ala al-bariyya. On Thursday nights when we recite this, we have to understand. It's not like only Thursday nights He brings that grace. No, daim al-fadli ala al-bariyya. And as Imam Mohammed mentions in one of his works, that the stinginess is not from there. There the grace is in full force. And not only that, but only positive grace, not negative grace. So even the evil that you see here is because of the receptacles, not because of what the giver gives. No, the giver gives very clean. يَا مَنْ أَرْجُوهُ لِكُلِّ خَيْرٍ وَآمَنُوا سَخَطَهُ عِنْدَ كُلِّ شَرٍ يَا مَنْ يُعْطِي الْكَثِيرَ بِالْقَلِيلِ يَا مَنْ يُعْطِي مَنْ سَأَلَ يَا مَنْ يُعْطِي مَنْ لَمْ يَسْأَلْهُ وَمَنْ لَمْ يَعْرِفْهُ تَحَنُّنًا مِنْهُ وَرَحْمَةً أعطني بمسألتي إياك جميع خير الدنيا وجميع خير الآخرة. Then we say something very important. فإنه غير منبوس ما أعطيت. What you give is not imperfect whatsoever. You give دائم الفضل and خير, but the receptacle is deficient. I give some very, we can say, diluted examples. For example, that a person buys for you a knife and tells you use this nice knife properly. You can use this to do a bad deed and kill somebody, and you can use the same knife to do good things and call people to your house for dinner and lunch and so on. And even, for example, cook for the mosque and so on, using the same knife. So when Allah gives the grace of power, thinking, knowledge, everything, He gives it pure and He wants us to use it purely. But it is our deficiency. And that's why this shurur and evil come about. So the evil is not from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is one of the most important principles, which is not only a principle of mysticism, but it is a principle of the Quran, of the Hadith, of the Dua. So this is what is the problem. That the receptacles are deficient. If our receptacles are not widened in this holy month of Rajab, then you will find in the month of Sha'ban, it will be the same. In the month of Ramadan, others will really benefit, but we will still be lag behind actually. We will be left behind. Why? Because we did not work for the comprehensive, container that we have, the heart that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given. Some people, when they enter the month of Ramadan, the amount of knowledge which they get, it's amazing. That's just in the month of Ramadan. Why? Because they prepared themselves to get that knowledge. Not that Allah only gave them in the month of Ramadan, He gives every time, every moment. Every moment, infinite grace descends. This verse of the Quran also is vocal about. أنزل من السماء ماء. In Arabic, when something which is in indefinite form, which we call nakira, it shows absoluteness. It shows this thing, that water that comes is indefinite, not the way you know that it's raining here and it's not raining there. No, it's raining everywhere, even for the kuffar. But they don't have the receptivity and the receptacle to take this grace. Now, of course, this subject itself has a lot of furu'at and tributaries and even other things that is related to that. But I've enlisted about 20 things that you can do to widen your containers. And I don't think so we'll be able to cover all of them, but maybe 4 to 5 we will mention, and then inshallah we will end the session. Recite the salawat. One of the things that is actually actually a principle, Quranic principle, that tells us if you want your container to increase, then do this, and that is shukr. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, in chapter 14, verse number 7 says, وَإِذْ تَأَذَّنَ رَبُّكُمْ لَإِنْ شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. If you give thanks, I will increase for you. This is how it is loosely translated. If you give thanks, I will increase for you. But that is not the translation. It's لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. I will increase you. That means that your reality will be increased. What you are in terms of the reality, that is your ruh, that comprehensiveness will come to you. You will have a wide receptacle. We will increase you. لَإِنْ شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ, not لَأَزِيدَنَّ لَكُمْ. Although one of the translations is this, لَأَزِيدَنَّ لَكُمْ. For example, they say the lam is elliptical. Elliptical means it's hidden. Sometimes in Arabic speech we have such a thing, that the verse is there, but some of these things are in ellipses. They are hidden. Here, no. The ulama, the great ulama, especially the mystics, they say, look at this properly. Allah doesn't say that لَا أَزِيدَنَّ لَكُمْ لَا أَزِيدَنَّكُمْ, I will increase you. And therefore thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And thanking, of course, is not only vocal. It's not only a vocalization, but it is an epitomization or practicalization. That means to use the things that you have been given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the purpose they were created. That is shukr, that is practical shukr. But the theoretical shukr, that, shukr which is known as shukr al-qawli or maqali, is also very important. That is the starting of shukr. So a person should not take it lightly and say, no, the most important is the practical shukr. If I am practically thanking Allah, that is important. No. Even this vocal shukr that you say shukran lillah, or alhamdulillah, has a lot of benefit, especially when somebody has the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. See, we have a lot of riwayat that say that, for example, those who recite the Quran and they have memorized the Quran, they recite the Quran, but it's like they are just saying something from their mouth and nothing is going into their heart, and there is a lot of madamma and reprove on these people. But then the great scholar like Imam Mohammed believed that even if you just recite it without having understanding it, also there is a very powerful advantage for you because you have the wilayah of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. So that is very powerful. Even the 2 rakats, they never take it lightly. Or the ziyarat that we recite, it's a small few lines, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah, and all that. Sometimes I feel that if you knew that every word that you recite, how powerful it is, because you have the wilayah of Amir al-Mu'mineen, you would say that you would always like to recite even these small things. Don't take them lightly, even if you don't understand. But that doesn't mean you don't go after understanding. That is important. The first step is this, but never take it lightly. One who has the wilayah of Amir al-Mu'mineen and one who has the love of Amir al-Mu'mineen and the acceptance of Amir al-Mu'mineen is a person whose every step of life is meaningful and important. Recite the salawat. Another thing that would widen our receptacle is dua. There is a principle again. Now this is a philosophical and a mystical principle that says that whenever you gain knowledge, the receptacle of your reality increases, doesn't decrease. It's not like a material entity. There's a beautiful hadith of Imam Ali alayhi salam which says, كُلُّ وِعَاءٍ يَضِيقُ بِمَا جُعِلَ فِيهِ. Every container narrows down because of what is put inside it. إِلَّا وِعَاءُ الْعِلْمِ, except the container of knowledge. فَإِنَّهُ يَتَّسِعُ, Because if you put more knowledge, it becomes wider. And if you put more knowledge than that, it becomes wider. And there is no time when you will say there is an end, because you are going towards infinity. Alright? So this is what is the reality. So one of the things that has been advised so much to us when it comes to widening our receptacles is the dua for increased knowledge. Just imagine the Prophet, who is the highest, he is told, Qul Rabbi zidni ilma. Or in one beautiful riwayah, he says that Rabbi zidni fika tahayyuran. It's a very beautiful mystical principle, where oh Allah, increase that state of tahayyur and being perplexed in you. And that happens in the spiritual journey, the second spiritual journey, where a person has finished the first journey and now he sees the divine names and he wants to acquire and become a manifestation of these names. So when he looks at the fountains, he sees that, for example, here is Jude, here is Karam, here is knowledge, here is power, and he doesn't know from where does he start. And that is known as the state of tahayyur, which is mamduh, which is very much encouraged, because of course, first you have to go to the highest level by cutting the veils of light and darkness, and then when you reach that level, then you go to the second journey. This is a spiritual journey that the mystics mention. I just wanted to make a passing remark, because this is something which is a bit abstruse and enigmatic. We need to talk about it in detail before understanding. But in short, the Prophet asks for more knowledge and is taught. So the second way to increase our receptacle was shukr, the second is supplication, right? This is the second way. The third way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually hints in the Quran is taqwa. And actually the whole month of Ramadan is the month of taqwa. And it's the month where you can increase your receptacles. But you're told, Baba, not at that time. Now, in the holy month of Rajab, recently they broadcasted the beautiful statement of Ayatollah Jawadi Amuli. He said, in Mah Afzaish Zarfiyate. This month is the month of increasing your receptacle, so that the grace that descends in the month of Sha'ban and in the month of Ramadan is something that you can contain and gain, not only in terms of knowledge, it can be in terms of strength, it can be in terms of the receptivity of intellect, it can be other advantages, because the grace that Allah gives is not only knowledge, it's of different kinds of grace that we know, the different dimensions of our life. But mind you, the grace that comes, that pertains to knowledge, subhanallah, that la wasfala, that cannot be described, la wasfala, because the person, a time comes that he asks for Allah himself, says, Ilahi, habli kamal al-inqita'i ilayk. In the month of Sha'ban we recite this. Oh Lord, gift me a complete absorption in you, kamal al-inqita'i ilayk. Wa anir absara qulubina, and enlighten the sights of our hearts, bidiya'i nadariha ilayk, by the light of its looking towards you. Hatta takhrita absarul qulubi hujuban nur, until the sights of the heart cut away or pierce. Hatta takhrita absarul qulub hujuban nur, the veils of light, فتصل إلى معدن العظمة, and it reaches in the fountainhead of greatness near you, O Allah. وتصير أرواحنا معلقة بعز قدسك, so that our realities are suspended to you. We know who you are. And Imam Khomeini actually would recite this now and again in his different lectures, especially in the month of Ramadan also, when he would give lectures. And he would mention this portion, and he would say that have we actually entered the month of Ramadan? On Eid he is saying that. On Eid he is saying that did we actually enter the banquet of the month of Ramadan? As the Prophet said, Du'itum فيه إلى ضيافة الله. You have been called in this month to be the guests of Allah. Here Imam Mohammed said that, have we really been the guests of Allah? And being the guests of Allah is not in eating the good things that we get at night. Of course, that is a very beautiful sunnah that we have, that we are actually inviting people, because that has its own ruhaniyah itself. But I'm talking about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us. What kind of mehmani is this? What is He giving us? And then Imam Mohammed mentions in one place, he says, He is giving us asma'uhu. He's giving the ismullah to us. He's telling us, be like me. I can make you like me. As the Aimma alayhi salam are reported to have said, Nahnu al-asma'ullah al-husna. We are the beautiful names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or for example, that beautiful hadith that we read now and again, Man zara abi abdillah, or Man zara aba abdillah, kaman zara Allah fi arshih. Whosoever visits Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, visits Allah in His arsh. That is a very profound thing that we are saying. That doesn't mean that, Imam Hussein alayhi salam has become Allah. There is nothing like that. It shows that you can come to a level where you can meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can have a vision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just because of your ziyarah. And with regard to ziyarah, it is like an intoxicant. If you give more of the information about ziyarah, and you know the realities of ziyarah, you would never feel like missing any opportunity when you have ikhtiyar or khiyar. That means you have an option either to go for ziyarah or something else, because that is a land of something else you cannot express. Anyway, so this is how a person can make his receptacle wider. These are three things that we mentioned. Let me give you two more, and then inshallah we will conclude. Recite a salawat, please. As far as this specific element that we say about taqwa, the Quran says in chapter 7 verse 96, لو أن أهل القرى آمنوا واتقوا لفتحنا عليهم بركات من السماء والأرض. If the people of the towns had been faithful and God-worthy, that means they believe, they are believers, and they observe taqwa, we would have opened to them blessings from the heaven and the earth. Here the ulama say that minas sama doesn't mean this rain. Minas sama means the ma'nawiyat, the spiritual benefits, the knowledge a person acquires, and so on. And therefore his receptacle becomes more comprehensive, so that the anwar ilahiyya, the lights of Allah that descend in this holy month, in the month of Sha'ban and in the month of Ramadan, abundantly get him, and he becomes even higher in status. Alright? This was the third thing. The fourth thing is seeking forgiveness. And if you look at the du'as of the holy month of Rajab, you find that it's starting with that. Recite 70 times this istighfar, recite this dhikr, recite, for example, Qul Huwallah 1,000 times. All these have its own secrets. They are meant to make us more comprehensive and getting more of the anwar ilahiyya in this holy month. As far as istighfar is concerned, there is a lot that we can speak about, but a very beautiful verse is chapter 70, verses 10 to 12, where Nabi Nuh is told, or Nabi Nuh says that I told my community, فَقُلْتُ إِسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ إِنَّهُ كَانَ غَفَّارًا يُرْسِلُ السَّمَاءَ عَلَيْكُمْ مِدْرَارًا. Here the mystical scholars talk about this, not only sama'ul dunya, that He will give you a lot of rain, but because you did istighfar and you came to a higher level, you will get the rain of knowledge, the rain of the higher levels of taqwa, and so on. Alright? So this is something also which is very important, istighfar. Let's take it very seriously with regard to the adhkar that we've been told in this holy month. And one other thing that I would like to mention, and then we finish here, The Holy Prophet is reported to have said, خدمة المؤمن لأخيه المؤمن درجة لا يدرك فضلها إلا بمثلها. Allahu Akbar. He said, the service of a believer for his believing brother is a station whose merit cannot be attained save by its equal. That means, you know what? The thawab and the daraja that you get, because as you go higher, your receptacle becomes comprehensive. You must understand. It's not like, this physical realm that as you go higher, you are not down. No. This means that your that container is becoming more comprehensive. Here he says, to do khidmah to a mu'min is such a station that you cannot get that unless you do a similar thing. Not that if you give sadaqah, you can get it, or another good deed, you can get it. No, you have to do khidmah to mu'min. So you can see, so there are about, here I have enumerated 20, and there may be even 100 of what you can do, so that slowly and gradually you can increase the receptivity, and we all can increase the receptivity. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enable us to epitomize ourselves with the characteristics of Imam al-Jawad, so that the way he is Jawad, the way Allah is giving in this holy month, we also become Jawad slowly and gradually, and we try to assimilate his attributes, and we also climb higher and make our receptacles ready for the holy month of Ramadan. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, enable all those people who are the mu'mineen and muslimin, and those people who have the ability to change in the grave, give them your light and make them easy in the grave. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Surah Al-Mubarak, Al-Fatiha.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अवतीकाले मगरिबी नमाज जमात बाद मस्जिद इमाम अलैहिस्सलाम मरहूम शिराज मोहम्मद अली गुलाम हुसैन तथा मरहूम मोहम्मद गुलाम हुसैन लाजी फातिहा खानी ज़ियारत की मजलिस सर्वे भाइयों तथा भाइयों पदार्थ गुरुवार तारीख 3 फरवरी सान्ना 5 से नफिल पंजतनी कब्रस्तान में इमाम मोहम्मद तकी अलजवाद अलैहिस्सलाम की विलादत की मजलिस अने मौलूद में सर्वे भाई पधारजो। शुक्रवार तारीख 3 फरवरी रातना 7:45 वागे अत्रे हुसैनी ज़हरा में इमाम अलैहिस्सलाम की विलादत का जश्न अने त्यारबाद नियाज में सर्वे भाइयों तथा भाइयों ने पधारवानी विनती है। अल्लाह वाहिद मुमिनीन वल मुमिनात रहिमहुल्लाह सूरत मुबारकतुल फातिहा।
पाँच बलो बिचारत अहमद वली ज़हरा हसन शबीर असले इमाम ज़मान शबीर असले इमाम ज़माने पे सदा सलावत पढ़ो सलावत सलावत के उस निसारे गोहर जो रंगी बुलंद सिफात हुए सलावत सलावत सलाम या इमाम ज़मान फरमाओ हुज़ूर या इमाम ज़मान सलाम अस्सलाम अलैका या रसूल अल्लाह अस्सलाम अलैका अमीर अल-मुमिनीन अस्सलाम अलैका या फातिमा ज़हरा सय्यदती निसाइल आलमीन अस्सलाम अलैका सल्लल मुज्तबा अस्सलाम अलैका या अबा अब्दिल्लाह हुसैन व अला अली इब्न हुसैन व अला औलाद हुसैन व अला अस्हाब हुसैन जमीअ रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू। अस्सलाम अलैका गरीब अल-गुरबा व बईद अल-मदद أستاذ السلطان فلسل علي بن موسى الرضا كن شفيعنا وشفيع والدينا في يوم الجزاء ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا حجة الله يا ابن الحسن يا صاحب العصر والزمان سيدي الأمان الأمان الأمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليك يا كعبة الإيمان. السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان. أجل الله فرجك وسأل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك ورحمة الله وبركاته.